Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is going to be a different team composition than I think I've shown before. This is going to be a Darkflight team composition. This is a trait that's been around for the entirety of set 7.5, the second half of set 7, but I generally haven't spent a lot of time playing this, in part because for a lot of the set it's been pretty underpowered. And also because it is kind of a reroll / assassin based team composition, and those tend to be the teams that I don't play as much, just kind of for personal preference in Teamfight Tactics. That said though, this is a team that's in a pretty strong shape right now in the data. We had a little B patch this week. The B patch hit Dragonmancer units, and they had previously been kind of dominating. And in the aftermath of those units getting nerfed, well, 3-cost carry team compositions have come to the fore. So that means Rengar, that means Olaf, and that means the Seraphine plus Graves team composition that I just did a couple videos on. So this is a normal game. The ranked queues were actually disabled at the time that I played this game. I was actually going to go and play a ranked game because I've been having some success there, and I'm trying to get the rating up before the end of the set. But no, they're actually disabled due to some kind of bug. So I was like, all right, well, I'll play a normal game. And that means it's a good time to experiment with some things you don't have as much practice with. So I thought maybe I'll try something different. And what pops out of the very first minion round other than a Rengar? So I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, I've got a Rengar here. We might as well try to play the Rengar team composition. Why not? And then there's an Aphelios here, so I can go ahead and play Darkflight. I also even get a champion duplicator, so that's not bad either. So at the moment, now I need to get some kind of a front line. Ideally for this stage in the game, I would find like a Rel and a Sejuani, and then I could like put my tank items on the Sejuani with the intention of transferring them over to Swain later on in the game. Something like that. I just randomly found 2 Nassuses, so I decided I would stick Nasus there as the unit to be sacrificed. And what do I get? I end up getting a belt. I took a belt off the initial carousel. It's going to be a 2-item start. And then I have the champion duplicator as well. Now look at this. Look at these options here. I've got first aid kit, which is not really a good fit for this comp. It's okay because Swain has healing, but it's not amazing. Electrocharge, also a possibility, but it's not really a comp that really uses electrocharge either. Because assassin team comps are not tanky. Basically, you take electrocharge if you're going to play a lot of tanks, and that is not what this team comp plays. So the third option is AFK. And this is an augment I don't know if I've shown in a video. It's very popular with people kind of at the top of the ladder. Basically, you do nothing for 3 rounds. You literally can't interact with your team in any way. And then after those 3 rounds, you get 20 gold. So you're basically opting into a deliberate loss strategy. Like you're going to lose the early rounds of the game in exchange for getting a lot of gold. This is not a strategy that I like playing into. I'm well aware that it works. I'm well aware that this is something that works pretty well, assuming you know how to use that gold, but it's just not a style that I enjoy playing. I more tend to like playing strong boards and playing from ahead, but it was the best of the options I had available. This is a little bit sad. Look, Yone has 3 hit points. I mean, I was never going to win that fight, but I thought Rengar could kill 1 unit, so I would take 2 less damage. Right here, it's all about just minimizing how much damage I take in the fights. I know I'm going to lose these fights barring something really bizarre happening. I mean, I'm literally playing 2 units on the board. A 1-star Rengar with no items and a 1-star Aphelios with no items because Nasus is being sacrificed here in the fights, but I literally can't touch my board in any way. I can't move. I can't even put items down. For instance, I would happily take the belt and put it on Nasus here with the intention of it maybe becoming like a Zeke's later on. Zeke's is still a pretty good item to use on the sacrificial units. But no, I can't do anything. Anyway, this is probably a good time to cover what Darkflight actually does because I've been talking about the sacrificial unit and all that jazz. By the way, it looks like there's going to be another player in the lobby who's running Darkflight, which is not what I'm looking for, but there's not much I can do about that. All right, so Darkflight, a weird trait. I like the creation of this trait, even though I think it's been tough to balance in this set. At least it's something very creative. So Darkflight, I'll read the description here. Summon a sacrificial altar. Combat start, the unit placed on the altar is sacrificed, means that they just disappear, they don't take part in the fight, granting a copy of one of the items and bonus health to each Darkflight champion. Emblems and non-craftable items are corrupted, instead becoming Darkflight essence. So in other words, if you have like an assassin emblem or a cavalier emblem or something, you don't get that on every single unit. You instead get this item called Darkflight Essence. So basically, you sacrifice one of your own units, in exchange for all of your Darkflight units get one of the items that unit's carrying. So obviously the sacrificial unit should only have one item. It would be silly to put more than one item on them. So all the Darkflight units get that item, and then they also get additional health. Note that the star level of the sacrificial unit is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you're sacrificing 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, it's exactly the same. So you might as well just save gold by having your sacrificial unit just be a 1-star unit. So yeah, not much you can do there. Right now, I'm getting the bonus health. I am not getting the bonus item from Darkflight trait because I have no item on the Nasus that's dying. Again, I can't interact with my board in any way. What I would really like to do is put the Leona on the board so I can get Guardian trait on one of them. And by the way, look at what Rengar does. He he switches focus from Senna over to Aphelios in the middle of the fight. So he ends up killing nothing. He takes both of them low and kills nothing. So I was like, you know, I wasn't going to win any of those rounds. I do wish I'd been able to kill a little bit more in the way of enemy units. So I've lost 20 health. So I basically, the AFK augment has traded me 20 health for a whole lot of money. And you can see I'm actually going to be very, very rich as a result of this. As I've said, it's not my favorite augment. I appreciate that it is quite powerful in the right hands, but it is also dangerous if you don't know what you're doing or you mess up, because you are losing quite a bit of health in exchange for money. And the test of skill, and you're also then down an augment the rest of the game. It is only a silver augment, but you know, once you've gotten that 20 gold, then you know the value of the augment is irrelevant after that. Still, I get a great shop here. I get another Rengar in the shop, which is quite nice considering how low the odds were to find that. And now I can also play more units. So now I'm going to look to sacrifice a unit. I'm going to make Leona the sacrificial unit because I do have 2 out of 3 Nasuses. And I'm going to go ahead and use the sword that I picked up on the carousel to make a Zeke's, because that is still a good item. What item people have put on the sacrificial unit has changed a bit over time. Zeke's has been popular for a lot of this set, for set 7.5, just because you can stack them and then multiple units are getting the scaling, getting the additional attack speed benefit. So it's a pretty good item to use. Protector's Vow was also popular for a while when that item was really overpowered. And by the way, this fight, even now I can actually do something with my board, but I still kill 0 units. I was like, oh man. Granted, that person is the strongest in the lobby. They're on 100 HP, win streaking with a swift shot board. But still, I was hoping I could kind of kill at least 1 unit. That was kind of disappointing. So anyways, I said the Zeke's has been popular throughout the set. Protector's Vow was also pretty popular. Bloodthirster is not bad just because it's an item that the units that the Darkflight units can actually use reasonably well. And I think that those are the main ones people have used. There was, at the beginning of the set, people experimented with stuff like Mass Zephyrs, and that's pretty funny to get like 3 Zephyrs or 4 Zephyrs, but it doesn't really work. Like, it's more amusing, but it doesn't actually work. More recently, people have been making the Darkflight Essence, which is when you put some kind of emblem or craftable spatula item on the sacrificial unit, and that actually works pretty well also. So if I can manage to get one of those, I'd be pretty happy to put that on. Basically, it just gives a whole bunch of different stats to your different units, a bunch of different stacking stats. Anyway, this fight's somewhat close, but it turns out I actually win this one, and I kind of wish I had lost this. I would have kind of preferred a close loss to go into the minion stage with a 5-round loss. But that said, I'm level 5, 50 gold basically. I'm 1 off, 49 gold, but like level 5, 50 gold, you do get incredibly rich as a result of that AFK augment. But I'm also on 70 health, so yeah, that's not great, but honestly, it could be a lot worse. I'm also doing a reasonably good job of actually hitting these Darkflight units, because like I have 2 Rengars, I have 2 Aphelioses, I think it's Aphelioses, and I found a Rel as well. So the last unit is Swain, but I can't expect to find Swain because he is a unit at the 4 cost tier, and I don't have very good odds to find him right now. All right, so we are hanging in there for the moment. The biggest issue is I've got kind of a wonky front line. I have like this Nasus plus Leona, which does not fit the comp at all, but like I'm a little bit hesitant to take out the Nasus because it is a 2-star frontliner. And then, oh, hello, what's this? We get a spatula. It's like, oh, that's nice. That means I can now look to make some kind of emblem with this, and that'll allow me to make the Darkflight Essence. So I was looking at the different options here, and the one that makes the most sense is Cavalier, just because I'm playing Rel in my team comp. So now my goal is I'm low health. I'll probably have high carousel priority on the next carousel. Maybe I can take a vest, and I'll be able to make a Cavalier emblem. and then that'll put Cavalier trait in play for Rel, and we'll also get a Darkflight Essence, which I can then use for the rest of the team. So yeah, my board still does not feel that great right now. I also got another Rod, which was not bad. I had the leftover belt. Or what was it? I had the maybe it was the other way around. Maybe I had the Rod and then I got another belt. But in any case, I was able to make Morello's. I'm going to stuff that on Nasus for right now. This is not a very good item on Nasus, but it is going to be a good item on Swain. It's probably his most important item. Generally, people put the Morello's on him, and then like maybe another tank item like Gargoyle Stoneplate is pretty good on him. Alternately, you can try to go for more AP, so he heals for more. And so you can go ahead and put like Archangels on him. It's not bad. It's just like basically tanky plus AP. But Morello's is great because he applies it to like almost the entire enemy team. And it also gives him more health and more ability power in the process. All right, well, we have our option for our next augment. And out of these options, again, it's another silver augment. Low power level in this game, which is actually kind of good, because the Rengar team comp does not cap out super high, so you actually prefer having a lower power level in the lobby. I'm going to take the Thief's Gloves, and that way I can just put it on one of my units. I think that was better than the other options. I put it on Aphelios. This is actually a mistake. Now Aphelios will not get the Zeke's Herald. I actually did not realize that, so I need to put this on one of my assassins, and I think I don't realize that until the next round. Well, anyway, I should talk a little bit about what these units do because I haven't really covered these units in the past. And right now, the most important unit in my team comp is Rengar, so I will cover how his ability works. Rengar's traits are Assassin and Darkflight, so he's always jumping in the back line, one of the few assassins in this set. This is not a big assassin set. Ability, Unseen Predator. Rengar leaps to the lowest armor enemy, dealing physical damage, and the next two attacks are faster. So that's really the big thing, is he jumps to the lowest armor enemy, no matter where he is to start the fight. So in some ways this can be good, as you see my team just getting absolutely destroyed again, and now I'm really losing a lot of health. So in some ways this can be good because he will focus squishy targets on the enemy team with his ability, which is what you want for an assassin, but it can also be bad because sometimes he'll like jump on an initial target, get them low, and then he'll just leap away to a different target. And you're like, Rengar, I wanted you to just finish off the unit you were hitting, geez. So his targeting can be a little bit wonky, but that's really the big thing, is he deals percentage of attack damage, and he goes after the lowest armor target when he actually uses his ability. So yeah, here you see I put the Thief's Glove on poor little Aphelios, and that was not the target to put it on. So I'm going to stick it on this Kiana instead. Now, Kiana's in there to give me Assassin trait, but this is actually still significant for the way the team comp works. Right now, the way people are building the Darkflight team comps is they're playing heavily into Assassin trait. Basically run 4 Assassins. So there's only 4 Assassins in this set, and you just play all 4 of those Assassins. By the way, we got a Zeke's out of the Thief's Glove this round, which is really good. But then we hit someone who apparently quit the lobby. This is a normal game, and sometimes people do weird stuff like that. But yeah, so they just leave the lobby, and I guess I get a free win, so hooray for that. I do think my team is starting to get there, but like I clearly need to get stronger because I've lost there's been 7 actual PvP rounds, not counting the one that was the free win, and I've lost 6 out of 7. So I need to get stronger. All right, well, we have a carousel here, and oh my god, there's a spatula right here, and I have first pick on the carousel. I am going to take that. And you know what's even better than having like a Cavalier emblem? How about a Tactician's Crown? The old Force of Nature for the +1 team size. I wasn't exactly sure if that counted for Darkflight Essence, but I was able to verify that yes, it does in fact count for Darkflight Essence. So we're about to get a lot stronger because we're going to get to play an extra unit, and instead of getting Zeke's for free, we're going to be able to get the Darkflight Essence for free. So I do need to reconfigure my team comp, but I should be able to make this item. And I'm also going to be able to go to level 7 here, and I want to roll, and now I want to try to start putting my team together. So no, I don't actually want Leona. She's not what I'm looking for. But all right, 2-star Rengar. That's good. There's a Diana. We want to pick up any Assassins. 3 Assassins is a little awkward, but it's still better to get these units in. All right, and now we're going to put the Rel in, and oh, well, there's some more Rels, and there's another Rengar. We do have the Champion Duplicator. There's 2-star. It's just an immediate 2-star version, and oh, there's Swain. So now I need to get Swain on the board, but I've run out of time. So finding the Swain is a really big deal. That is the unit I want. I also run out of time to make the Tactician's Crown, so oops. And this is kind of an awkward round because I don't have any items on my sacrificial unit. I'm like not quite where I want to be for Darkflight, but it looks like I came up with kind of a weak board. I'm actually up against one of the other Darkflight players. But apparently this person's board is pretty weak. It looks like they were trying to play through Cannoneer trait, which is how people used to play Darkflight, but is not how people play Darkflight anymore. Playing heavily into Cannoneer trait doesn't really work as well. Just because Aphelios is not that good of a unit, people have figured out, at least in this current patch, that playing through Rengar makes a lot more sense than trying to play through Aphelios. And by the way, I'm hitting a lot of Rels. That's actually 7 Rels already. So, all right, what are we going to do here? So we want Rel on the team comp. We want to get this Tactician's Crown in play. I also would like to get my Thief's Glove onto the Diana, who's going to be a better unit. Let's make the Tactician's Crown. So now that's going to become a Darkflight Essence. We're going to put the Zeke's Herald on Aphelios, a good holder of this item. And now we've still got this extra spot. I want to get Swain in here. I'm like trying to fiddle with my board, and there's like, oh, Swain. I need to get Swain in here. So I just barely managed to get him in. Let's put the Morellos on him. And now I'm up to 6 Darkflight, which is what I'm looking for. And you see that kind of evil-looking item? That is the Darkflight Essence that I've been able to pick up. So what does the Darkflight Essence do? Well, it gives everybody in the team a couple of different stats. It gives them health, ability power, attack damage, and armor. And I believe it's 13, right now in this patch, it's 130 health, 13 AD, 13 AP, 13 armor. The unique thing about it, though, is every time one of your Darkflight units dies, their stats gets transferred over to the other Darkflight units. So, like, if Aphelios dies, all of the other Darkflight units, instead of getting 130 health, will now get 260 health, and instead of 13 AD, will now get 26 AD. So it's a very nice item, particularly for Swain, because that way Swain will get stronger over the course of the fight. As other units die, he'll be getting a stronger and stronger version of that Darkflight Essence. I'm going to go ahead and put the Thief's Glove on Diana. She looks like the best person to hold it. Remember, I don't want any of my Darkflight units holding it because they're going to get the items for free. All right, and then we're going to get some other stuff here. And I'm going to look to sell some of these units here. So, all right, we've got some interesting choices here. I would like to make a sword item on Rengar. I definitely need to start itemizing Rengar. So, like, I could make Giant Slayer or Edge of Night. Those are possibilities, but I kind of like the idea of maybe making Titans here. Didn't really have another good use for the vest in particular. I was like, all right, I guess all right. This is not an amazing item on Rengar because it doesn't play into anything that's crit chance based. Because Rengar is an assassin, you always want to build items, if possible, that have crit chance associated with them. But I was like, I don't think I'm really going to do anything else with these. So, all right, we'll go ahead and make this. Again, Edge of Night, also not a bad choice for him. But I think the Titans is pretty good. Like, ideally, I would probably want to have Infinity Edge and, like, Hand of Justice as his remaining items, or Infinity Edge plus Bloodthirster, so he has some healing. But, like, this is not bad. He'll stack up Titans pretty quickly, and then that'll give him additional defensive stats in addition to some extra AD and AP. So anyway, now we're on a big win streak. We're on the huge loss streak into the big win streak, which is exactly what you want to do, but is also quite risky to do. So again, I don't really recommend going as low on health as I did. Sure, it looks great now, but if I hadn't been lucky enough to hit the Tactician's Crown, this could be a lot uglier. And then look at this, Celestial Blessing, perfect. I was like, done. Celestial Blessing will heal off the damage. It's going to make Swain even better, and it's going to make it so that Rengar does not need to itemize healing. That means I can make his last item an Infinity Edge, sword plus the glove, and that way I do not need to put like a Hand of Justice or Bloodthirster or whatever on him. He definitely needs some healing, but now he can get that through Celestial Blessing, at least a little bit of healing through that. All right, so again, we've got 6 Darkflight, 3 Assassin, 2 Cannoneer, 1 Dragon on the board right now. What I want to do in terms of upgrading this board is I want to move out of Cannoneer. The Senna is not doing anything. I want to get another Assassin on my board. So I really want to find Neela, because that'll get me to 4 Assassins, and that'll increase the various stuff that Assassins get. What is it? Assassins get additional crit chance and crit damage. It's actually a big spike from 2 to 4. In this patch, it goes from 20% crit chance to 50% crit chance, and 10% crit damage to 25% crit damage. Then it gets even more ludicrous at 6 Assassins, but that requires double Assassin emblems, and that's probably not happening. So Neela is a big unit to find. What I would do is I would just drop the Senna, who's not really doing anything. Like, I have Cannoneer trait in, but like that's not really important for the team comp that I'm playing right now. Aphelios is not doing much of anything back there. I mean, he kicks in a little extra damage, but Rengar and Swain are the main focuses of this comp. So I can drop Cannoneer trait and pick up another Assassin. What I'm looking to do is I want to roll a little bit more. I'd like to stabilize a bit more. By the way, I'm also on 8 Rels, and I do have the Champion Duplicator. So like that's a possibility too. And we're still looking. I mean, I can make 2 stars. And there we go. There we find the Neela. So now I'm going to put Neela in, and I'm going to make the Kiana the sacrificial unit, because Neela is just a better unit. And then I'll stop here. I think that I'm in pretty good shape. I think it was at this point that I was like, you know what, now that I've got the 4 assassins, I think I probably just want to go to level 8. And then at level 8, I can look to find Swain 2-star, and then I can look to maybe put in one more unit, which would be Graves. Graves would be the last unit that I would put in. Normally this board does not play into Graves, but I do have the +1 team size. Like, this is typically the level 8 board, what I have in right now. But I've got 1 extra unit because I've got that Tactician's Crown. So, you know what? We can just play 1 more unit, and Graves is the obvious unit to play. Cannoneer plus Tempest. Also a good unit in his own right. He won't do that much on his own, but, you know, give me an extra unit, and it's not going to hurt to have that extra unit. But, like, I have 2-starred most of my board aside from Swain, so it probably makes more sense to go to level 8 here, and then just stay at level 8 for the rest of the game. Now, I still have pretty good carousel priority because I took all that damage earlier. My top item here would be the glove so that I could get Infinity Edge. That's not available, so I will take my fallback option, which is a tier, and that's going to make Archangels on Swain. Archangels is not really going to make him tankier per se, but it will mean that he'll scale up over the course of the fights. So anyway, let's take a second here and cover how Swain works. I don't think I featured him in any of my previous videos. So Swain is the Darkflight dragon. Every dragon has a trait that they give you 3 ranks in, and he is the Darkflight dragon. So he's just Darkflight dragon. His ability is called Dragon Master's Decree. Swain releases his Dragonling flock, launches 8 Dragonlings towards nearby enemies. Each deal magic damage to their target, then return to Swain and heal him for 12% of his missing health. So Swain is basically has the same ability. I think that this is more or less what he had back in set 4.5, if I remember correctly. So he basically drain tanks the enemy team. When his mana bar fills up, he shoots out these little ravens. They will hit all the nearby enemy units, and then they'll come back and heal him for some of the damage dealt. So this is why Morello is really good, is he applies it to so much of the enemy team, and he will heal over the course of the fight. Now, that means he's very good against sustained damage. What is he weak against? Well, burst damage. Unfortunately, that's what this team has. They have a Siphon who charged and then just bit Swain and bursted him down before he could heal. So this fight does not go well because basically because Swain got popped pretty early in the fight. At least Aphelios is able to finish off 1 more unit. So my big win streak comes to a close, and you can see I am down to 41 HP, so I don't have a lot of health to play around with. Like, I'm not in terrible shape or anything like that, but I also don't have a huge grace period because I did lose all that health in the early game. Anyway, there's another Rengar. And I'm going to just continue doing what I said before. Going to push to level 8, and then on level 8, we're going to roll to try to find Swain 2-star. If I can't find Swain 2-star, I would look potentially to use the Champion Duplicator. He is that important of a unit. I believe if he had been 2-star in that last fight, he probably would have survived, and then we might have won the fight. We also do have 8 Rels, so hopefully I can get closer to Rel 3-star. I only need 1 more, and I am on 5 Rengars. Of course, I am being contested by someone else who's playing Rengar as well, another person who's playing the Darkflight team composition. One thing I'm doing each round is I'm trying to take very close care to scout out the rest of the enemy team, just so I can make sure that my assassins are properly positioned. Swain is going to be in more or less the same spot every fight, just right in the middle of the enemy team. But anytime you're playing assassins, positioning is very critical because assassins deal a lot of damage, but they are very fragile units. So if they get stuck jumping on tanks, you're probably going to lose the fight. It's very important that they jump on carries on the enemy team. Now that ends up being a ghost round, so it doesn't really end up mattering. But yeah, you do have to be careful with your positioning. All right, we've got another Treasure Dragon here. I am looking for a glove, and then as soon as I see this, I'm like, oh, well, this is perfect. Great. We've got a glove, so Rengar can make Infinity Edge. As an assassin, he really wants Infinity Edge. And then we also get a Shroud, and then we have a leftover Rod. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Rod, but late game Shroud's always excellent, so I'm quite happy to pick that up. Now we're going to go level 8 and roll a little bit. Again, I would most like to find Graves here. It's probably the unit that I could fit the best, but I'll put in Zeri because she does make Cannoneer trait. I'm going to roll a little bit. Mostly, the other thing I'm looking for here is 2-star Swain. I really want Swain. I was like, oh, apparently it's a fire sale on Swains today. And do I want another Swain? I could look. I mean, I do have the Champion Duplicator. I could try to go for Swain 3-star. So, all right. And then I decided I'd rather play Yasuo than Zeri out of these particular units. And I'm still rolling here. I'm going to keep rolling a little bit, but I don't really want to roll below 10 gold. I probably have overrolled a little bit anyway once I hit the Swain 2-star. I was just kind of hoping I could hit that last Rel and get to Rel 3-star. All right, well, anyway, I've got a leftover Rod, so, all right, Yasuo, you take this. Again, Yasuo makes no traits in my board. I would prefer to play Graves over him, But, you know, it is a Yasuo, so he's got to be better than... I think 1-star Yasuo is better than 1-star... what do you call it? 1-star Zeri. Even if she makes Cannoneer trait, Cannoneer is pretty irrelevant. Anyway, the big thing, though, is that Swain is now 2-starred, so he's much better at surviving in these fights. Now, he does still die in this fight, but he survives long enough for Rengar to kill the backline, and that's the big thing that I need. Plus, of course, every time he dies, he does transfer that Darkflight essence over, so Rengar will get a bit stronger. And now I'm pretty happy with my itemization. Again, the Titans is a little wonky on the Rengar. Not quite what I'm looking for, but still a good item nonetheless. So with the Darkflight essence is that third item that they're picking up. I'm pretty pleased with how that's going. Now, all right, so there's one other person who's playing Rengar. I mentioned that before. This person, G-Gang. So honestly, right now I need to rebuild my funds anyway, but you know, get back up to 50 gold. But also, it probably doesn't make sense to roll until that person is out of the lobby. So I'm kind of going to wait to see if I can. It's going to wait to see if this person can get knocked out, and then if I can maybe try to hit some of my units after that. So they are using the Zeke's Herald as their sacrificial item. Again, it's not a bad choice. It's one of the better, probably one of the best things you can make if you aren't lucky enough to be able to get an emblem in there. And I think that they took a Darkflight +1, Darkflight Heart, I think it's called, for their augment, but unfortunately that doesn't really do a whole lot for them. I think they're on 7 Darkflight. So what they really should do is they should consider, they could consider cutting one of the Darkflight units. Like you could cut the Aphelios, which is not a very strong unit. The problem is +1 Darkflight doesn't really do that much for you unless you can get +2 Darkflight to get to 8 Darkflight. And that's because it just doesn't really help you to get to 7. Now, as I said, you can cut the Aphelios from your team composition, but then you aren't getting the advantage of the free item. And that's kind of the big thing about what a Darkflight team does, is it gets the free emblems. Or the free items, excuse me, from sacrificing a unit. So yeah, getting just +1 is almost useless. You really don't get anything until you can get +2, and that's pretty hard to do. It's very difficult to get double Darkflight emblems. If you can make it though, Darkflight 8 is pretty nutty. Darkflight 6 is 1,000 health. Darkflight 8 is 1,600 health, so it increases the benefit by like over 50%. Again, pretty crazy. So we are seeing some of these people that are playing Dragon teams. The good news for me is people have not 2-starred their backline Dragons yet, so it's pretty easy for Rengar to hop in the backline and just delete like a 1-star Aurelion Soul. Because this set has not been big on Assassins, a lot of players are not used to dealing with Assassin boards. They actually don't position very well for the Assassins. Everybody in this lobby should be positioning for Assassins because there's 2 of us playing Rengar. You know, that's 2 of the 5 boards that are left. But again, people just maybe gotten lazier, gotten out of practice of playing against Assassins. So there are opportunities available to exploit. Let's just say that. Now there is a Yasuo with a Cavalier emblem. I would 100% take that, but it is not an option. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, out of these other options, there is a Chalice I could pick up, but Chalices don't really do that much for this comp. I opt to just grab the Graves because I want to play Graves. And even though Graves is a terrible item for Graves, he has a Morello's. I was like, I just want to play Graves, so even if he has a bad item, whatever. I'll just take this so I can play the unit. So Yasuo, you're out. Graves is in. Unfortunately, we don't have. We rolled double Zeeks in the last round for from our Thieves Club, which was awesome, but we didn't get that this round. So Graves, you're going to give us Cannoneer trait and Tempest trait, and you know if we can 2-star you, then maybe you can kick in a little bit of extra damage. I do know who I'm up against this round, so anytime you have that opportunity, definitely want to position for that team comp. So I was looking at this board, and I want to position on right-hand side because I believe that's where their carry is. Yep, they're playing through Kai'Sa carry, although it's only a 2-star Kai'Sa. So yeah, this board looks like it's falling off pretty hard. I'm not quite sure what they were going for, but this is not it. This is not a board that's going to win late game based on what they have here. So we just delete Kai'Sa instantly, and I mean, Kai'Sa got nerfed in the little B patch anyway. So Rengar did take a fair bit of damage, but like, look, Swain's on a full HP. That nothing is ever going to kill this Swain. Yasuo would have to kill every other unit and then get his 3rd cast off, and that's just not going to happen. So we're going to be able to win that pretty easily. Now I'm watching the other Darkflight player pretty much every single round because I want this person to be out of the lobby. And I'm waiting for them to lose so that I can roll a little bit more because I want them to put all those Rengars back into the pool again. It makes no sense to roll until that happens. And I'm not going level 9 ever, so I'm just going to sit here on 56 gold. I'm still hoping that they will get knocked out. I actually can hit them. I'm one of their potential opponents. They have taken the Yasuo off the carousel and put the Yasuo on their board so that they can get Darkflight Essence instead of Zeke's. which again is smart. I mean, I've done kind of the same thing. I've just been luckier to get the Tactician's Crown. So I'm going to look to go ahead and position my Shroud so it hits the middle of the board, because both of the potential opponents I have will get shrouded by this. And there we go. They also have a Pantheon in there for some reason, I guess for Warrior trait with their Yasuo. It's a little bit wonky. Not exactly sure why they have a Pantheon on their board. It doesn't really fit this team composition. But we now both have Darkflight Essences, so there's just Darkflight Essences everywhere on the board right now. But looks like my Rengar is killing their entire backline. Meanwhile, my backline is still alive. And this is a very tanky Swain, but this Swain is not going to stand up to my entire team. Eventually, the healing's going to run out, and then we're going to knock that player out. So this is fantastic timing. We're about to go to a minion round, and that means I will be able to roll with all those Rengars and Swains back in the pool again. There's even a Graves back in the pool. So we might as well roll a little bit here. We can go down to 50 gold. Again, there's no need to try to 2-star Kiana. And again, I'm still looking for this Rel 3-star. I really want to hit the Rel so that I can just clear all this bench space. She's eating up 3 slots on my bench. But yeah, and we're also close to Rengar. We have 6 Rengars. And Diana I don't care as much about, but I'm holding Diana's because they take 3 cost units out of the pool. And maybe we'll 3-star her as well. You never know. All right, well, now I need to look to roll it down. I do still have the Champion Duplicator, so I could Champion Duplicator Rel at any point in time, but that's not what I'm looking for. All right, I went past a Swain. I actually saw that, and I was like, I meant to pick up that Swain. Well, that probably won't end up mattering, right? All right, so we're going to roll it down. There we go. We finally hit that. And then we're going to hit 2-star Graves, more Rengars. There's another Swain and 2-star Neela. There's another Rengar, so now we can always Champion Duplicator that. There's another Diana, so we'll pick that up. Can we hit the Rengar? I will go down to 0, and we hit it on 0 gold. So, all right, there we go. And, look, don't look now. I'm actually on 8 Swains. So, oh, man. What if I had bought that extra Swain in the store? I could have Champion Duplicated that for 3-star Swain. I'm still only 1 off, though, so hopefully I can hit that unit. But, yeah, we hit 3-star Rengar. We hit 2-star Neela. We hit 2-star Graves. So, yeah, we just got an awful lot stronger here. And I was like, all right, well, if I was winning all the rounds before, I'm on a 6-round winning streak. If I was winning all those rounds before, I probably should win these rounds now, right? But this fight's actually closer than I was expecting. I kind of thought I would be winning here, but all right, Swain, I think it's up to you. You and Aphelios are still alive, but Swain's low. Can he survive this cast? Well, the Aphelios is going to be taken out by the Aurelion, so come on, Swain. And Swain actually did manage to kill this guy. Woo, and that person's out of the lobby. Jeez, that board was a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be. All right, so we're just rolling now. Can we hit the last Swain? Just need 1 more. We've got the Champion Duplicator. Only need 1 more Swain. And the person that's left is this, what is this, the Kaisa Shimmer Scale comp that I honestly do not think is very strong at all. So, I mean, the board I just hit, I think, is much stronger than what we're seeing here. So it's like, all right, well, 5 Shimmer Scale, I mean, okay, but there's no 3-stars on this board at all. So I see them shifting at the last second, so I shift Rel over to compensate. But it turns out they actually faked me out. My Shroud hits basically nothing. I was like, okay, well, I don't think this really matters because Rengar is still on the back lines. And, like, Rengar plus Neela are still killing the the Kaisa in the back line. So, all right, yeah. Think we've still got this, but nice little trickery there to outposition me. Anyway, Swain is still untouched in these fights. Or wait a minute, no, did he actually no, he got killed in the fight. But I have 3-star Rel now for like a secondary tank. So can we hit the Swain? Come on, 1 more Swain. I would like sell the Graves if I could hit 3-star Swain to raise enough money to buy it. Come on. Doesn't look like we're going to get the 3-star Swain this game. Maybe another game. But yeah, at this point, I mean, I don't think this other board is very good at all. 2-star Kaisa is not going to beat what I've got here. So I'm just going to watch and see if they reposition. Just going to stay right here. Are they going to reposition? And they're going to move Kaisa at the last second. But I was like, you know what? Let's just keep Rel here. They moved Kaisa up to the front line, which I do not think is the right place for her to be. She doesn't have any lifesteal whatsoever. I mean, I guess this person has Silver Thrill of the Hunt as for their augment. But yeah, that unit's just going to... Yeah. Rengar's like, hello, I jumped to the lowest armor target, which means you are dead. I guess it didn't really matter. Rengar was going to target that unit anyway, so frontline versus backline didn't really matter. So, all right, that's going to be it. GG. And we're going to win this one. Volibear actually did most of the damage on their team. Anyway, though, yeah, a rough early game, but once I got my board online, it was just pretty smooth win streak to the finish. I think I won, I think I lost 8 of the first 9 rounds, but then I won 8 of the last 9 rounds. So it went from huge loss streak in the early game to big win streak in the end game. I typically don't play that way, as I've said. I more prefer to try to win streak early, try to preserve health, and then like hang on at the end. That's how most of my games look like. But this was the opposite. This was the greedy game, taking that damage early, getting a lot of gold, putting the board together, and then just win streaking at the end. So for a change of pace, this one was definitely fun. And 3-star Swain, maybe we'll get you next game. Ah, well. In any case, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this video. Glad I could show off a different team comp. Until next time, take care, folks.